Today we're going to talk about why your ex-boyfriend moves on so quickly after a breakup. And if you stick around to the end of this video, I'm going to let you in on my special 3-step method to actually win them back if they've moved on to someone else. Now, this method has been used by real life people and has gotten real life results. But first, if you want to skip to the front of the line and figure out if you even have a chance in your current predicament, I recommend that you go to my website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, and take the quiz I have outlined there. The quiz is designed to tell you what kind of chance you have in any circumstance. And if you want to take the quiz, it's simply 2 minutes long, and all you have to do is simply look at the bottom of this YouTube video in the description. Click on the link that you see there and we'll get you taken care of. So what is this special 3-step method that can help you get your ex back if they've moved on to someone else? Well, that's what I'm going to show you right here, right now, so let's get to it. Step number 1, understand the reactions men typically have after a breakup. In my experience, there are 3 typical reactions that people tend to have after a breakup: introverted reactions, extroverted reactions, and secure reactions. Understanding these 3 reactions can give you insight into what's going on with your ex and especially why they've moved on to someone else and are on the rebound. Let's start with the rarest of these reactions. Introverted reactions are rare because typically that means instead of your ex moving on in a calm manner, they take everything for themselves. A common sign your ex is going through an introverted reaction is that they're not telling their friends, family, or close acquaintances that they've even gone through a breakup. It's not a healthy way to go. They push everything away, they run away from their problems, and they just want to kind of deal with it internally. Also, a huge sign that your ex is going through an introverted breakup is the fact that when you actually try to reach out to them, they're not even responding. Now, up next we have extroverted reactions. Now, extroverted reactions are actually a lot more common than you think, and they're really consistent with people who go on the rebound. What does that mean? Well, instead of internally dealing with it in a healthy manner, they actually like to go out and make themselves as busy as possible. They'll go out with friends, family, they'll go on the rebound. They just want everything they can do to not deal with the problem or pain that they've gone through with the breakup. So instead, they often turn to other people to seek validation through that. It's almost as if they've gone through a breakup, they feel really bad about themselves, so the way to cure it is to actually go on dates with other people. That makes them feel kind of a little bit better about things. Now, finally, we have the secure reactions. Secure reactions, as I'm sure you've already figured out, is the quote-unquote healthy way to move on from a breakup. It's the healthy way to react. This is often punctuated by people who are taking a little bit of extra time for themselves, kind of put their life together, and they don't try to seek validation from other people. They're not going on the rebound very quickly. They're just sort of figuring life out on their own. Now, out of all of these reactions, the people I work with, most of the time they're trying to get an ex-boyfriend back who's actually had an extroverted reaction. And you'll notice that's going to be kind of what we're going to focus on for this video, because extroverted reactions are also the reaction that exes will have when they've actually moved on to someone else. So once you've put in the work to figure out what kind of reaction that your ex has had, it's time to move on to step 2 of the process, and that's to implement a 45-day no contact rule. There are 3 time frames of no contact that I usually recommend to my clients: the 21-day rule, the 30-day rule, and finally the 45-day rule. Now, it stands to reason that when you're going through a breakup and you've noticed that your ex has moved on to someone else, or they're even just going on dates, you would want to give that person the least amount of time with their new significant other as possible, right? Well, actually, our research has found the opposite is true. But why is that? Well, there's actually something we like to call the honeymoon period involved here. The honeymoon period is kind of when your emotions are at the height in a relationship, and oftentimes the honeymoon period is punctuated by someone who's actually just gotten into a relationship with someone else. So a lot of times when you're looking at trying to win back an ex who is with someone else, it's all about timing. When you attempt to try to get them back is almost as important as the strategies or tactics that you use to try to get them back. So where does timing fit in here? Well, oftentimes if you go the short route with just a 21-day no contact rule, you aren't giving your ex enough time to kind of come down off the rise of emotions. Now, the interesting caveat I'd like to bring about here is when it comes to looking at a rebound relationship, you'll notice that their honeymoon period isn't quite as long as the traditional relationship that you can get into normally. But what about the 30-day rule? 9 more days should definitely be enough time. Well, we've actually tested this with our clients and found it's still not enough time. They can still be in the midst of the honeymoon period. What you're really looking for is for them to have their first fight, and the only way that you can guarantee that is giving them as much time as possible. This is why we actually recommend a 45-day no contact rule. The longer the no contact rule in this particular circumstance, the better your timing can become. Step number 3, implement the being there method. So truth be told, the being there method is something that me and my team stumbled upon as an accident. We were actually coaching someone whose ex had moved on and actually moved in with someone else. And on a whim, we decided, hey, why don't you just try staying in touch with your ex? Don't kind of try to get your ex to cheat on their significant other, but just simply be a friend. Essentially friend zone yourself, and maybe that will be enough to kind of drive that quote unquote wedge between the two in the relationship. Now, this is a morally gray type of strategy or tactic, but we found it really works well. And just this year, research came out proving that it works. Earlier this year, Psychology Today posted an article in which it said, in general, those who stayed in touch with exes tend to be less committed to their current partners than those who did not. So what does this all mean? Well, what it means is that if your ex is with someone new and you want your ex to be less committed to them and more committed to you, probably the only scientific data we have to figure out how to navigate that situation is by simply talking to them and staying in touch with them and making your conversation satisfying with them. So think of it like you're in a battle for your ex's time with the other woman. How can you monopolize his time so that he's spending a little bit extra time talking to you, and he's talking and opening up to you about subjects that he's maybe afraid to talk to his current rebound? By simply being there to have a conversation with your ex, you may actually find that your chances of your ex becoming less committed to his current girlfriend and intrigued in you are raised. Hey, thank you so much for getting to the end of this video. If you haven't already, make sure you stop by my website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, and take the Ex Recovery Chances quiz. All you gotta do if you wanna take the quiz is simply look in the description link below this YouTube video. Finally, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and click the bell notification on these YouTube videos. Every subscriber helps, and we definitely love communicating with our subscribers in the comments section below. So leave a comment if you haven't already. I'll see you guys next time.